Okay, now we are going to plan our vertical rhythm and our grids and guides we are going to set up in this exercise. Now first let me show you how my whole design is laid out, and I am using 8-point grid system, okay, or 8-point design framework over here, which is Google Material Design, borrowed from Google Material Design. If I go to these grids, you can see over here, if I try to hide my vertical grids, this is, you can see I'm using 1200 pixel width, and I am using 12 columns. And right now in this design exercise, my gutter width is, I think, 30 pixels. Okay, now, but I am going to use 24 pixels just to make sure that we are going to use our 8-point grid system. So it doesn't matter whatever distance you choose, make sure that your vertical rhythm, which is this one, these lines, they should be 8 pixels wide. Okay, so 8 pixels tall. So you can see over here, if you go to this area, you can see, let me zoom in. Now you can see how much space I left from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 5 multiplied by 8. So it's, I think, 40 pixels at the top. And again, you can see at the bottom, we have the same distance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have almost, our vertical rhythm is almost after every 5 blocks. Okay. And also you can see our button is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we are going to use the same technique in our design. You can see these distances, these are the key points which can really create very sleekness and very uniqueness in your design. Okay, so your design will look very sleek and cool and clean. Okay, so same technique you can see over here. If I go to this area, you can see we have a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so between heading and this paragraph I have 4. Then you can see here we again have 5, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is how my whole design is working out. So if you go to this area, you can see over here again between these two headings, subheading and heading, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks separate. Okay, so this is how we are going to lay out our whole design. These distances really matter. You can see over here again in this area we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so sometimes I'm using 32 pixels distance and sometimes I'm using 40, and on few places in our sections I am using 64 and sometimes 96 pixels. Okay, so if we go to this area, you can see over here it is almost 90 something pixels, 96 pixels from this section to this section. Okay, again from this area, again it has, I think, let me show you. Okay, so it is 56. So this is how we are going to lay out our whole design. Before that, make sure that you have all your color swatches ready over here. If you don't know how to create them, you just select any color and add to swatches. You can click over here and it will be added over here. And normally I keep a lot of swatches, so mostly the swatches I'm going to use are at the bottom from this area to this area. Okay, now let's move on to our tools to create this 8 pixel grid. Right now, because my movement of 8 pixels is not fixed. Okay, sometimes I'm using 5 gaps, sometimes using 4 gaps, sometimes using 7 gaps or 8 gaps. So I'm going to use just this single 8 pixel line. Okay, so I'm going to use something similar to this. Okay, so there are many ways to create this. There are online tools. You can also create a pattern. You can see over here. I have this pattern overlay. I have created this pattern. Let's unlock this. Okay, so let me show you. I have created these patterns. You can see over here, this is 8 and this is 16 pixels and this is 48, I think, or maybe I think it's 24. So these are different pixel grid systems you can use. You can also use 16 if you want to. Maybe it will simplify your placing because the grids are more wide. You can see some of my elements are out of sync over here. You can see over here, but this is almost perfectly fit. You can see the heading. Also the button is not fitting in here because it has 8 pixels and 8 pixels at top bottom, but you can see the whole idea of the block is over here. Okay, so we are going to set up something like this. So let's get started and set up something like this. Okay,